Congratulations, you've decided you're ready to ride a motorcycle and you want to do it properly, in full gear.
You open up Google, but you're left overwhelmed by the sheer amount of information available to you on the internet. Don't worry, by the end of this video, you'll know how to choose the right gear for your riding style, what safety ratings actually matter, and how to avoid wasting money on the stuff you don't need. A majority of riding fits into the dirt and asphalt scale. You've got motocross, enduro, adventure riding, daily commuting, twisties, and track, just to name a few. As a general rule of thumb, towards dirt we prioritize impact protection, and towards asphalt we prioritize slide protection. What you want to do is make sure you're buying the correct gear for your application. It's simple really. If you're only going to ride asphalt, don't buy dirt gear, and vice versa. My good mate Nick just bought his first bike and he is in the same boat as you. Nick will mainly be doing adventure style riding, so we're going to try and find that middle ground between dirt and asphalt. Instead of guessing sizes online, we're going to head into my local retailer, Moto Heaven, to get Nick sized up properly and to show you what to look out for.
I've been here at Moto Heaven for a little bit over 8 years now. My role is ultimately the customer service and sales side. So I deal with all of the online customer service stuff, as well as all of the in-store shopping.
Amazing. It's safe to say you know what you're doing. Now, if I could ask you a question on behalf of all the new riders here, what is a tip you can give for someone who's buying their first set of gear?
Make sure that you allow a budget to purchase everything you need. You can either tailor your budget to match the items, or you can match the items to your budget. It can work both ways, but I often see people making the mistake of splurging on one item, usually a helmet, and then either not getting or skimping out on another. And it's so important as any ability rider to make sure that you are covered.
I completely agree with you. Can you think of any other mistakes that these new riders make when they're buying gear?
Yeah, I absolutely can. I've got two that come to mind. Purchasing a helmet that is an ill-fitting helmet, making the assumption that they know what fits right, and then working out shortly after that it's not quite right for them. So taking the time to try some stuff on. And then the second one that I see a lot is people assuming that buying bright coloured gear means that everyone on the road can see them. And these days that's just not true. One piece of advice we give lots of people is ride like no one can see you, and you've already got the upper hand.
Great points. There you go, guys. So if you're coming into Moto Heaven to grab some gear, be sure to speak to Cash. She'll fit you with a helmet and fit your gear. So what exactly do you need to buy in order to own a full set of motorcycle gear? First, we start with a helmet. A helmet is the piece of equipment that is most likely to save your life in the event of an accident. It is also the only piece of kit that you are legally required to wear while riding a motorbike in Australia.
About high-vis vest is a learner.
Nerd.
In terms of price, it's easier to think the more expensive a helmet is, the safer it'll be, but this isn't always the case. That $50 Aldi helmet and that $2,000 AGV helmet have both been tested against the same legal standards. What that extra money gets you is purpose and quality. When I say purpose, I'm referring to its intended application, whether that be street riding, touring, ADV, motocross, or track riding. And when I say quality, I'm referring to what goes into the production of that helmet, whether that be research and development, the design, the materials it's made out of, the fasteners, and so forth. These all add to the quality of your experience while you're riding, and I personally think it's worth spending a little bit extra. But if you don't have the cash, that's fine too. You can settle for a cheaper helmet without worrying too much about compromising on your safety.
When you come off a bike, one of the first things you do is stick your hands out to break your fall. Okay, come, show me gloves. What does it look like when you come off your bike?
When I come off my bike.
Oh shit.
If you're going to be riding on asphalt, learning in car parks, I recommend going for a set of leather gloves. Full gauntlet gloves are more protective, but I personally have a couple of pairs of short gloves for the convenience.
Next up, boots. Your feet are surprisingly delicate, and as a beginner, there is a high chance they're going to cop a beating as you put them down to catch a fall or when you experience your first slow speed drop.
I do not compromise on my riding footwear. I have a full set of boots for the street and a full set of boots for my ADV and dirt rides. I bought a pair of expensive casual riding boots and I ended up regretting it. I barely ever wear them. I thought I'd be getting the best of both worlds. Full protection and convenience for when I'm walking around and off the bike. I ended up getting the worst of both worlds. They are nowhere near as protective as a full boot, and they are nowhere near as comfy as a set of casual sneakers. In hindsight, this should have been obvious to me, but there's a mistake you guys can learn from.
Next up is your jacket. This is what's encasing your vital organs and your spine.
Don't forget about the spine.
Not important to everyone, apparently.
If you're riding on asphalt, I recommend a good leather or textile jacket with armor for your shoulders and your elbows. You'll also want to buy a back protector, which is usually sold separately. If you're going to be focusing on dirt or enduro primarily with no asphalt, then you can settle for something that focuses more on impact protection, such as those bionic jackets, as opposed to something that offers more slide protection like textile and leather. Plenty of motocross and enduro riders wear a bionic suit, which is only rated for impact protection, and throw a jersey over the top, which offers no real abrasion resistance. In terms of fit, as with any motorcycle garment, different brands cater for different proportions. I have a short torso, and I didn't realize how poorly my first jacket fit because of it. I've found that Ixon jackets fit me much better than Dainese jackets, so there's a tip for any other short torso folks out there.
Your legs are more likely to get damaged in the case of an accident, but I'm placing pants below your jacket because they aren't encasing any vitals.
Damn.
I didn't actually think about that till just then. I was like, shit. There are some delicacies being housed by your pants.
I thought about that too. Like,
Yeah. Damn. No children?
your guy's inessential.
For pants, I wear either leathers or an aramid composite, both with armor inserts.
Special mention goes to earplugs. Now, these won't save your life, but they are essential, in my opinion.
They won't save your life, but keep in mind that tinnitus is irreversible. The silent killer is wind noise. It doesn't matter how quiet your exhaust is, you are not going to escape wind noise if you are regularly traveling above 60 kilometers an hour. Anyone who regularly rides but says they don't need earplugs is kidding themselves.
Check out the description if you want to see what earplugs I use when I ride.
You can't just hop on AliExpress and buy all of the above gear just because it has the word motorcycle in its title. You've got to actually verify this equipment's going to protect you, and in order to do that, you need to make sure it's rated as PPE, personal protective equipment. If it's a helmet, it's got to have been tested against the ECE or ASNZS standards to be considered legal here in Australia. Different countries have different requirements, so you've got to be extra careful when buying helmets online or from overseas. The other garments I mentioned need to have something called a CE rating. Each type of garment has a special CE rating it's tested against. I'm going to try and make this as simple as possible. Jackets and pants have a letter designation starting from C all the way up to AAA. If you're going to be riding on asphalt over 60 k's an hour, I would recommend at minimum AA garments. If you plan to ride track, I'd stick to AAA and avoid anything that has mesh panels on it. Moving on to armor. Armor is either level 1 or level 2, with 2 being the highest. If you're doing track riding, I'd stick to level 2. If you're doing any form of dirt riding that's going to have some heavy impacts on your body if you come off, again, level 2. But for lower speed commuting or casual riding, you can get away with level 1. Now, riding shoes are a little different. They have a rating that looks like this. Any track, motocross, or heavy enduro, I'd go minimum level 2 across all of these categories. The problem with a lot of adventure boots is that they're comfy, but they're not protective enough for what they're marketed towards. That's why I went for a dedicated motocross boot for my off-road and ADV purposes. Ideally, I should have gone for the enduro boot, but mine were half price, so I was willing to make a sacrifice there. Moving on to fit, you've got to go in store and try your equipment on. We all have slightly different shapes and proportions to our bodies. Manufacturers therefore cater for slightly different body types with each of their garments. They aren't even consistent with their own offerings, which is why it matters so much that you go and try it on. This is especially crucial for helmets, but relates to jackets, pants, boots, gloves, the whole lot. You could be losing out on both protection and comfort if you choose ill-fitting garments. If I had to pick one garment to physically test in person though, it would be the helmet. Some people have rounder heads and some people have more oval-shaped heads. If you buy a helmet made for a different sized head shape than yours, you could end up with hot spots. This is where there's extra pressure on certain points along your head and can cause headaches, extra fatigue, and general discomfort while riding. Go watch a video on how to size up a helmet before purchasing one. Now, before I move on, a quick word on jackets. Sportier cuts are shorter than your typical touring jackets. Now, I have an extremely short torso and I found that my Dainese leather jacket did not fit correctly. It was too long for my body. At the time, I thought it was because I had a bit of a pot belly that all of my material was bunching up near the front, but it turns out the jacket was simply too long for my torso. All these safety ratings are great, but if you want some extra peace of mind, I recommend visiting the MotoCap website. The CE ratings I mentioned earlier are extremely important, but they don't guarantee the gear will hold up in the event of a crash. MotoCap is an independent program which tests motorcycle gear according to their own protocol. I highly recommend that you go search up your products on that website before committing to a purchase. It has been eye-opening to see my gear on this website, and I wish I had known about it before I'd made those purchases. And finally, make sure you buy your gear from authorized distributors. Those safety ratings mean nothing if they're fake products.
All right, Nicholas, get in here. So Nick recently purchased a CRF 250L Rally Edition, which we've posted a few videos about. We've finally come to Moto Heaven to purchase his gear. Do you think it was valuable coming into a store and trying on all the equipment before purchasing?
Definitely, I think especially the bigger investments like the helmet, having the opportunity to kind of do all of those little tests that we did, checking for fit and for pressure points and any discomfort. I think that was really, really valuable, in particular with the helmet. And yeah, the opportunity to walk around with the boots, spend some time in them, and yeah, get really good sense of confidence that I'm making a sound, informed decision.
There you go, guys. It worked. It was a must, in my opinion. I was worried about the helmet and the boots because those are two of the more expensive and harder to fit items. But in the end, Nick ended up switching gloves and having to size up on his jacket and his pants. So it just shows, regardless of what you expect, you have to go in store to try it all out. Especially if you're buying new, this is such a big investment and it's your safety that's at stake, so everything needs to fit correctly.
Especially if you may have packed on a couple of relationship pounds.
Yes, he's happy, which is good, but a chassis blowout was involved, which is why the numbers were a little skewed.
Sometimes you need to be humbled.
Yeah.
And that happened today.
Finally, I want to say a massive thank you to the guys here at Moto Heaven. They made this entire process super smooth, and they've given Nick the opportunity to purchase his first set of gear, and they've given him the opportunity to do it the right way.
Thanks, Moto Heaven.
There you have it, guys. That is a crash course on how to choose your motorcycle gear. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I will catch you on the next one.
Thank you. Now do the outro.
You say you got what?
Wait, okay. You've got the guns.
You don't even
but
know
I've
the
never
song.
heard
You don't know the song.
Drums.
You say you got the guns, but I never seen you bang.
You say you got the drugs, but I've never seen you slang.